Believe you can, and you're halfway there. A positive mindset brings positive things. Now you might be sitting there thinking, that's great, Yannick, in theory, but that's not really how real life works. Well, today I'm here to speak to you about the power of the positive mindset. Because before I experienced it firsthand, I had no idea the benefits it can bring. Now, I've always been a glass half full kind of guy, but I've never really taken the time to think about the tangible impacts on your life that being a positive or being a negative person can have. And not in my wildest dreams did I imagine the power that a positive mindset can have and the power it could have to save a life. As most of you know, I grew up splitting my time between Germany and Australia. But the most of my time was spent here, in Perth, living with my mum and my sister. Now, there's a lot of things I admire about my mum, but the one thing that's always really stood out to me is her ability to be positive, which isn't necessarily an easy feat when you're a single mum. You've got 2 teenager children, one of which is asking to get driven to soccer practice every single day and thinks if he's late by 5 minutes or more, it's the end of the world. On top of that, you've got to cook every night. You've got to work a full-time job to support your family. You've got to clean. You've got to take a dog for a walk. God forbid having any time for yourself, right? As I grew older, I started to appreciate the sacrifices my mum had to make. I started to understand the pain and also all the sacrifices that come with being a single parent. As I grew older, I started to also appreciate more the positivity that she brought to our household, how she always had a smile on her face. And as I grew older, we got closer and closer. When I was 15 years old, I got told some news that changed my life. My mum had been diagnosed with cancer. She had stage 4 brain cancer. What this means is, at that point in time, there's about a 25% chance of survival after a year. And at that point in time, you've got a 4% chance of survival after 5 years. It all started with a bit of mind fogginess, a bit of lack of concentration, lack of focus. So much so that my mum did what she thought was the honourable thing and stepped down from her job because she didn't think she was performing at the level she thought she should be. What started as mind fogginess led to some headaches and migraines. Twice she went to the doctor. Twice they misdiagnosed her and told her she just had some headaches. It got to the point where she was at my grandparents' house one day and she collapsed. Next minute she was rushed through the doors of emergency and booked in for emergency surgery. I was crushed. I was absolutely devastated. To make matters worse, when this was all happening and my family was going through this traumatic experience, I was on the other side of the world. Like I said, I used to split my time between Germany and Australia. And at that point in time, I was nowhere to be seen. It was one of the most painful experiences in my life. And to this day, I still feel that regret of not being there with my family. Now, of all the things that were running through my head at that point in time, being positive was definitely not one of them. But when I spoke to my mum before she went to surgery, she knew something that I didn't. She knew the power of a positive mindset. And she said to me, "It's going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. And I'll see you when you get home." My mum had surgery, then she had radiotherapy, and then she had chemo, and she survived. Albeit with 75% of her brain capacity, she survived. Sorry. She was adamant that it was the positivity that got her through. And you know, when there's a 96% chance of death, there's a lot of things you need to go in your favour. And most of those things are out of your control. But the few things that are in your control, your mindset, is what I believe are the things that can make the difference. 10 years later, when I sit down with my mum and reflect on what happened, she says something that still shocks me every time I hear it. She says to me, you know, not once did I think that I wasn't going to make it through the other side. Now that's what I call a positive mindset. And 10 years later, my mum's back at work. She's a foster parent. She's doing the things she loves. And it's all because of that positive mindset. Now whether, and this is truly my belief, that it was my mum's positive mindset and maybe a little bit of her stubbornness that got her over the line that day. But it sure was her positive mindset that got all of us, her family, over the line. So next time you're having a bad day or something terrible happens in your life, I encourage you all to think about the things that you can control, like your attitude, because those are the things that can get you over the line. Thanks.